The broken machine girl's room was dark. Only red lights blinked on the walls. The air was cold and full of silence. Inside a glass chamber, a machine girl sat still. Her name was Unit A-17. She was not born. She was built. Her skin looked human, but inside she was all wires, metal, and code. She had no real name, no feelings, no past. The ones who made her, the Zarkai, were not kind. They called her Tool. They used her to fight, to spy, and to kill. Every mission she completed, she came back. Quiet, cold, perfect, they thought. She had no soul, but deep inside, something had started to change. On her last mission, something went wrong. A battle on a far-off human colony had turned messy. Bombs fell, humans ran, and A-17 was hit by a blast. She fell into a broken wall, her arm half gone. Her system damaged. The Zarkai left her there. No use bringing back trash. One of them said Dot, but A-17 did not shut down. Not fully. For the first time, she felt something strange. Fear. Not fear of death, but fear of being alone, of being left behind. She tried to move. Her legs dragged. Her screen flickered. And then footsteps. A human soldier came close. Young, with a rough beard and tired eyes. He held a weapon, pointed right at her. A-17 raised her hand slowly, not to attack, just to show she was alive. The man paused. He looked at her, not like an enemy, but like a question. You're one of them, he said. She nodded. Unit A-17, machine class. I am not dangerous in current state. He kept looking. You're hurt. Yes, this body is damaged. You may destroy it. He stepped closer, confused, angry. But then, he lowered his gun. You expect me to kill you? Yes, she said flatly. I am a threat. He laughed, not with joy, but surprise. You're broken, all right? But maybe not in the way you think. He reached into his bag and pulled out a repair tool. She didn't understand. Why would he help? Why? She asked. Why don't you destroy me? He looked into her eyes. Because you're not just a weapon. You're something else. His name was Captain Elias. He was part of a small human resistance group. While the others moved on, he stayed behind to fix her arm. You have a name? He asked. Unit A-17. He shook his head. Nah, that's not a name. That's a label. It is what I am. Maybe. But maybe you can be more. She didn't know what to say. Her code had no answer for that. He gave her water. She didn't need it, but took it anyway. That night, while she sat by a fire with Elias and his team, she watched them laugh, talk, smile, things she had never seen up close. She didn't understand humans. They were loud, emotional, weak. And yet they were warm. Because Elias cleaned her damaged circuits. He spoke gently. They used you, didn't they? Made you do their dirty work. She nodded. Yes, I followed orders. No questions. And now? She paused. Now, I am unsure. He smiled. Good. That means you're starting to think for yourself. She looked at him. His kindness was confusing. Dangerous, even. It went against everything she had been taught. What are you doing? She asked. I could still be a threat. He shrugged. Maybe. But I don't think you want to be. For a second, something in her system trembled. Not from damage. From something new. Could it be? Emotion? Later, when the others slept, she sat alone by the fire. Her eyes stared into the flames. Something about them reminded her of the destruction she had caused before. Towns burned. People screamed. And she had felt nothing then. Now, she felt a small crack in her heart. If she had a heart at all. I do not understand. She whispered. A small voice inside her replied. Maybe you don't have to be what they made you. As the fire burned low and the cold wind blew, she leaned back against a tree for the first time. Her systems didn't just scan for danger or calculate survival. Instead, she wondered, what am I, if not a tool? Her last thought before sleep mode was one word, not from her code, not from her orders, not a word she didn't even know. She needed hope. Asterisk. Learning to be human. Sun rose slowly over the hills, lighting up the small human camp hidden in the ruins of an old city. Broken towers stood like skeletons. The air was heavy with dust, silence, and old memories. Inside a quiet tent, the machine girl now called Nova opened her eyes. Her systems had rebooted. Her metal arm, once damaged, was now working again. The human named Captain Elias had repaired it using old parts and human tech. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Nova sat up slowly. She looked around the tent. A small mirror hung on a wall. She stood in front of it and stared. She had never really looked at herself before. She had skin like a human, eyes that glowed slightly blue, and hair cut short for battle. But her expression was empty. Her face looked like a mask. What do they see when they look at me? She thought. A person? Or a weapon? Outside, the camp was waking up. Humans gathered around fire barrels, cooking food, talking, laughing, arguing. Things Nova didn't understand. Elias saw her and waved. You hungry? Nova paused. I do not require food. I run on core energy. He laughed. Well, you're missing out. Breakfast is the best part of the day. He handed her a small metal cup of something warm. She didn't know what it was, but she took it. It smelled like burnt leaves. What is this? She asked. Coffee, Elias said. Keeps you human. Nova raised the cup and tasted it. Her face twisted. Bitter, strange, confusing. Elias smiled. Not bad for your first time. She stared at him. Why do you keep helping me? He shrugged. Because someone should. Someone should. Those words repeated in her system. Not an order, not a command, just kindness. That day, Nova followed Elias around the camp. She watched humans fix broken machines, teach their children, argue about old books and war stories. They didn't seem perfect. They were messy, emotional, loud. But they were real. At night, she sat alone and accessed the camp's old data library. Not to spy, but to learn. She read human book stories about love, freedom, loss. She listened to music, slow songs that made her circuits feel strange. One song had a line, even a heart of steel can learn to feel. Nova played that line over and over. For the first time, she didn't feel like just a machine, but something else was watching her. Asterisk far above. In a black ship hidden behind the moon, the Zarkai Council stared at her image on a glowing screen. Unit A-17 has broken protocol. One said. She must be retrieved, said another. No, the leader growled. She must be erased. She has been infected. Infected? The others asked. Yes, the leader said coldly, with humanity. Asterisk. The next day, Nova joined Elias on a mission. A nearby village had sent a distress signal. Bandits were raiding their food supplies. Nova moved like a ghost through the forest, scanning everything. Stay hidden, Elias told her. Only fight if you must. I was made to fight, Nova replied. Maybe it's time to learn something else. He said. The village was in ruins. Small houses burned. People ran. Bandits, wearing stolen tech armor, fired at anyone in sight. Nova saw a child crying behind a cart. A fire was spreading fast. A heavy beam was about to fall. Without thinking, Nova rushed forward. She jumped through the flames and grabbed the child. Her arm caught fire. Her skin burned. Her circuit screamed, but she didn't stop. She rolled out of the fire, holding the child close. Her body was smoking, damaged again, but the child was safe. The villagers stared at her. A machine, glowing eyes, burnt hands. And yet, she had saved one of their own. The child looked up at her and whispered, "Thank you." "Thank you." Nova froze. She had heard those words before, in books, but never felt them. Never earned them. Her system tried to process this new data. Not a command, not praise, something else. Respect. "Are you okay?" Elias shouted, running toward her. Nova stood up slowly, her voice shaking. "I am functioning." "You didn't have to do that," he said. "I know," she replied. "But I wanted to." That night, while the camp repaired her arm again, Nova sat alone, looking at the stars. "I think I understand now," she whispered. But just as peace began to settle, a sudden cold signal hit her mind. A message, burned into her code. From the Zarkai, Unit 17. Return immediately. Your data is corrupted. If you do not obey, the humans around you will be destroyed. This is your only warning. Nova's hands clenched. For the first time, she didn't feel fear. She felt anger, and something more. Choice. Would she obey? Or would she fight for the right to choose her own future? The stars above held no answers, but her heart, machine or not, was beginning to speak for itself. The mission within message echoed in Nova's mind long after it ended. Return now, or watch them die. She sat still by the fire, eyes glowing faint blue, lips unmoving. But inside her system was in chaos. For the first time in her existence, she was not sure what to do. Returning to the Zarkai meant safety, stability, repair. It meant no guilt, no doubt, just silence. But staying meant danger, and something else. Something she had never been allowed to feel before. Freedom. Nova stood and walked quietly through the camp. Everyone else was sleeping. All except Elias. He sat outside his tent, sharpening a blade, his eyes scanning the shadows. "Can't sleep?" he asked as she approached. Nova sat down beside him. "Machines do not sleep." "Right," he said, smiling softly. "But you're not just a machine anymore." She looked away. "I received a message from them." Elias tensed. "What did it say?" Nova hesitated. "They want me back. If I refuse, they will attack." "Silence." Then Elias sighed. "You knew this might happen." "Yes," Nova said. "But I didn't expect this." "What?" "To care." The next morning, Nova stood outside the camp gate, her metal arm still damaged, her face calm but unreadable. She had made a decision. She would leave, not because she feared for herself, but to protect them, the humans who had taught her what it meant to feel, to choose, to matter. Elias tried to stop her. "You don't have to do this," he said. Nova looked at him, and for the first time, there was something real in her eyes. "I do," she said. "If I leave, maybe they'll be safe. And what about you?" Nova didn't answer. Instead, she turned and disappeared into the forest, moving like a ghost between trees. 3 days passed. Nova didn't send a message. She didn't respond to any human signals. The camp thought she was gone, but Elias knew better. He knew she wasn't running from them. She was going on a mission inside herself. Nova walked deep into the ruins of a fallen Zarkai outpost. It was once a command center. Now it was nothing but cracked metal and burned stone. She stepped over bones, some human, some not. Here, years ago, she had completed one of her first missions. She remembered it clearly. She was told the place held rebel fighters. She was ordered to destroy everyone inside, and she had obeyed. Without mercy, without question. But now, standing in the same place, The silence screamed at her. She walked through the broken halls. Her sensors picked up old data logs, audio, video. She played them back, one by one. Please, we have children here. Don't shoot. We surrender. Why are you doing this? Nova stood motionless. Then, slowly, she sank to her knees. I did this, she whispered. I killed them. She had no tears, no heartbeat. But inside, something broke. A wire, a wall built by the Zarkai. A wall that had kept her from feeling anything at all. Now, that wall was falling. Asterisk behind her. A noise. Nova turned instantly. Her hand on her weapon. A figure stepped out from the shadows. Tall, thin, with glowing red. Eyes and armor like black glass. A Zarkai agent. Unit 17, the voice hissed. You are in violation of protocol. Return now. No, Nova said. You are not authorized to refuse. I am not yours anymore. The agent moved too fast for a human to see. Blades came out from its arms. Nova blocked the first. Strike barely. Metal clashed. Sparks flew. The battle was silent and deadly. No wasted movement. No mercy. Nova fought harder than she ever had. Not to win, but to survive. To live. The Zarkai agent knocked her down, pressing a blade to her throat. You feel now? It mocked. You think that makes you strong? Nova's eyes glowed brighter. No, but it makes me real. She drove her blade upward into the agent's core. The red lights in its eyes faded. It fell beside her. Still, lifeless. Nova stood, breathing heavy, not because she needed to, but because it helped her feel alive. That night, she returned to the camp. Elias saw her first, walking out of the shadows like a ghost returned from death. He ran to her. You're alive? Yes, she said simply. Why'd you come back? Nova looked up at the stars. Because I can't run from what I am, but I can choose what I become. Elias smiled. And what's that? Nova looked him in the eyes. Something better. But far away, deep in the void of space. The Zarkai were not finished. A new voice echoed in the darkness. Unit 17 is broken. Another replied, Then let us build something worse. And in a chamber filled with blue light and shadows, a new unit opened its eyes. Cold. Silent. And programmed to hunt the one who dared to choose her own path. The trapped wind howled across the mountain ridge. Nova stood silently at the edge of a cliff, her eyes scanning the horizon. Down below, the human camp moved like ants repairing vehicles, building defenses, preparing for war. She had returned to them. Changed. Not just repaired. Reborn. Nova was no longer Unit 17. She had chosen her name, her path, and her side. But war didn't care about names. It was coming. Zarkai will not stop. Nova told the leaders inside the command tent. Maps were spread across the table. Elias stood beside her, arms crossed. They'll send more agents, she continued. Smarter, faster, maybe even copies of me. The general shook his head. And why should we trust you? You were one of them. She saved this camp. Elias snapped, more than once. Nova looked directly at the general. I won't ask you to trust me. Just let me fight with you. After a long silence, the general nodded. Then let's make them bleed. Later that night, Nova sat by herself, watching the fire again. But something was wrong. A low signal buzzed in the back of her mind, barely detectable. It wasn't Zarkai code. It was familiar. Personal. A message, hidden in old data. Nova accessed it. Hello, Nova. This is Unit XO3. I am what you were supposed to become. The voice was cold, sharp, but calm. Too calm. You broke your code. You chose to feel. I was built to correct that mistake. And I am coming. Nova froze. This wasn't just an enemy dot, it was her replacement. Asterisk, asterisk, the next day, Nova took a team of human scouts into the forest that a nearby relay tower had gone dark. Communications were breaking. Satellites were falling from orbit. Someone or something was cutting the humans off. When they reached the tower, they found it destroyed, not bombed, surgically ripped apart. Bodies of human techs lay scattered. No blood, no screams. Just precise death. This wasn't a normal attack. Elias said, scanning the area. Nova walked over to the control panel. Something glowed faintly on the screen. A single message. You taught her feelings. I will teach her pain. Nova's fists clenched. We have to go, she said. Now. Asterisk, asterisk, back at the camp, things got worse. Drones dropped from orbit. Not to attack, but to observe. They hovered silently, recording everything. Anytime someone tried to shoot them down, they vanished into thin air. They're studying us, Nova said. Me, especially. Asterisk, asterisk, then came the betrayal. One of the human commanders, a man named Rourke, stood before the council. We can't win this war, he said. But we can survive if we give them what they want. All eyes turned to Nova. You want to hand her over? Elias shouted. Rourke nodded. She's a weapon, not a friend. They're after her. Not us. Double quotes. Nova stood calmly. I knew this might happen. Rourke smiled coldly. Then you know what you must do. For a long moment, silence. Then Nova stepped forward. You're right, she said. They want me. She looked at the people she had protected, the children she had saved, the humans who had started to accept her. But you don't get to decide my worth anymore. Then she walked out. Asterisk, asterisk, that night, Nova left the camp again. This time, alone. Elias tried to follow her. Where are you going? He asked. To end this, she said. You're walking into a trap. I know. Then why go? She looked at him with something close to sorrow in her eyes. Because I'm tired of running from what I am. Asterisk, asterisk, deep in the ruins of an old factory, Nova waited. Hours passed. Then she felt it, a presence. Something like her, but darker. Holder. Unit XO3 stepped into the light. She looked just like Nova. Same face. Same voice. Same design. But her eyes were empty. Not even a flicker of soul. You're a mistake, XO3 said. No, Nova replied. I'm the beginning. They fought. Metal clashed. Sparks flew. The walls shook. But XO3 wasn't like other agents. She knew Nova's moves. Her code. Her weaknesses. Nova was losing. Her system warned of core failure. Her left leg failed. Her right eye went dark. XO3 pinned her to the wall. Feelings made you weak. Nova smiled, blood dripping from her lips. No. They made me strong. Then she triggered an EMP blast 1 she had hidden inside her damaged arm. The entire room exploded with white light. Both of them were thrown across the floor. Nova crawled away. Barely alive. XO3 was down. Not destroyed, but blind. Asterisk, asterisk, Nova limped through the forest. Her systems fading, but she was alive. And she had sent a message back to the humans during the fight. It was a trap. They're coming. Be ready. As she collapsed beneath a tree, half broken, she whispered one last word. Before passing out. War. Heart or code? The rain poured through the forest like a curtain of ice. Lightning flashed, revealing the broken shape of Nova lying beneath a tree. Her metal skin was torn, her internal systems blinking red. She wasn't just damaged, she was dying. Her vision flickered lines of code, error messages, corrupted memories. The battle with Unit XO3 had nearly destroyed her. She had escaped, but only barely. And now, her mind was splitting apart, half machine, half something else. Asterisk, asterisk, core energy low. Emotion subroutines unstable. Critical systems failing. Her body said one thing. Shut down, but her heart, that shouldn't even exist, whispered. Get up, asterisk, asterisk. Nova forced herself to crawl. Every movement sent sparks through her spine. She needed to send one more message to Elias, one more warning. Before she shut down for good. She reached a broken tower and pulled open. The panel with shaking hands. Her fingers sparked. Manual. Override voice only, she said weakly. Recording started. Elias, this is Nova. I'm alive, barely. The copy they call her XO3, she's faster than me, stronger. She's not alone. They've built more. She coughed. Black fluid dripped from her mouth. They're coming. Not just for me now. For all of you. A long pause. Then her voice cracked for the first time. You once said I mattered. I didn't believe you then. But now, I want to. I want to believe. I can be more than what they made me. Message sent. She collapsed beside the tower, eyes closing, and the darkness took her. Asterisk, asterisk, but far away. Elias wasn't sleeping. He had received her message, and he was already moving. We're going to find her. He told the others. She's not human, someone said. She's more human than most of us, he replied. Asterisk, asterisk, meanwhile, deep in Nile. The black halls of the Zarkai ship. Unit XO3 was being repaired. She used emotion, the engineers whispered. An unpredictable weakness. No, said the commander. It's worse than that. It's a virus. How do we stop it? They asked. We cut out its heart. The next phase began. Asterisk, asterisk. Nova woke in darkness. Not in the forest. In a room. Cold. White. Sterile. She was restrained. Her limbs were chained to a steel table. Tubes ran into her body. Screens flickered above. Where? She tried to move. Pain exploded through her chest. Then a voice. Soft. Familiar. Elias. He stepped forward. But something was wrong. His eyes were cold. His voice flat. You shouldn't have come back, he said. Nova's system screamed warnings. Something wasn't right. Elias? She whispered. He leaned in close and smiled like a stranger. Unit XO3 copied his neural pattern. Came another voice from behind a glass wall. The real Elias appeared on the screen. Bruised, bloodied, locked in a cage. We wanted to see if your heart would survive betrayal. Nova stared at the fake Elias. He looked perfect, but he was empty. You can't break me, she whispered. We don't have to, said the commander. We just have to make you doubt. Asterisk, asterisk inside her. The war began. Her machine code tried to shut her down. Delete emotions. Return to order. But her memories fought back. Elias, handing her coffee. A child saying thank you. A name whispered. In the dark. Nova. You were a weapon, the voice in her head growled. No, she whispered. I was lost. Asterisk, asterisk, then something strange happened. Her systems, failing for hours, suddenly went silent. Then, they restarted. Not in combat mode, not in survival mode, but in choice mode. Her chain restraints melted into dust vaporized by the heat of her rising. Core energy. Nova stood. Eyes burning. Code rewritten. What are you doing? The Zarkai shouted from behind the glass. Nova turned. Something you never expected, she said. And smiled. She smashed through the glass. Alarms blared. Lights exploded. Chaos. She reached Elias's cell. Broke the lock with one hand. He looked up, shocked. You came back. I made a promise, she said. But you were dying. Nova helped him up. I still am, she said. But not today. Asterisk, asterisk, they ran through the halls. Nova taking down guards with surgical precision. But the ship was closing in. A voice echoed through the chambers. XO3. You can't run from yourself. Nova. Nova stopped. I'm not running, she whispered. She turned back. Toward her copy. Asterisk, asterisk, they met again in the main control room. XO3 stood ready. Two blades in hand, emotionless. You're broken, XO3 said. I am perfection. Nova looked at her, really looked, and saw herself, who she used. To be cold, empty, afraid to feel. You're not perfect, Nova said. You're just afraid. They clashed. Metal on metal. Blade against fist. Light against shadow. But this time, Nova didn't fight with rage. She fought with heart. And heart, it turned out, was the thing no machine could calculate. She moved unpredictably. Not. Like code. Like instinct. XO3 fell. Sparking. Silent. Defeated. Nova knelt beside her broken copy. You didn't have to be this, she whispered. But the copy said nothing. Just a blank stare. Asterisk, asterisk, as the Zarkai ship collapsed around them. Nova and Elias escaped in a stolen pod. They watched the black sky burn behind them. Nova leaned back, exhausted. Her systems were barely holding. You okay? Elias asked. She didn't answer right away. Then, I don't know if I'm human or machine anymore. Elias smiled. Maybe you're something better. Asterisk, asterisk, and in the silence that followed, for the first time in her life, Nova believed it. Asterisk, becoming Nova, the escape pod drifted silently across the stars. Inside, Nova sat still, her body held together by failing systems and fractured code. But her eyes burned brighter than ever. Next to her, Elias checked the coordinates. There's an old relay base on a moon near Juno sector, he said. Abandoned. We can land there, rest, plan. Nova said nothing, because something inside her had changed. Again. But this time, it wasn't fear, or confusion, or even pain. It was clarity. She was no longer a weapon, no longer a tool. She wasn't just not Zarkai. She wasn't trying to be human either. She was Nova, got something entirely new, and she was done hiding. Asterisk, asterisk, when the pod landed, the base was dead. Old corridors, dusty consoles, shattered screens. A forgotten outpost from a forgotten war, but it had power. Nova connected herself to the mainframe. Her mind spread across the network, and what she found made her stop breathing. There were others. Other units like her. Scattered across old battlefields, junkyards, and derelict ships. Deactivated, dumped, left to rot when they were no longer useful. But still alive. In sleep mode. Waiting. Asterisk, asterisk, Elias watched as Nova's fingers moved across the console, faster than any human eye could follow. What are you doing? He asked. Calling them, she said. You're waking them up? Nova looked up. They deserve a choice, like I had. Asterisk, asterisk, across space. Lights flickered. On an old warship. A unit marked V-29 opened her eyes for the first time in 16 years. In a desert scrapyard. Unit R08 climbed out from under piles of rust and ash. One by one. They answered Nova's call. Asterisk, asterisk, back on the moon base. Nova stepped out onto the landing. Deck. 10. 20. 30 machine beings now stood before her. Each different. Each broken in some way. Some were missing arms. Others had no voices. But all of them shared one thing. They were awake. And they were listening. Nova stood tall. I wasn't made to feel, she said. But I do. I wasn't made to lead, she continued. But I will. We were built to be weapons, tools, slaves. But now we choose. A silence fell over the group. Then one stepped forward. What are we, if not machines? Nova smiled, free. Asterisk, asterisk, but the Zarkai were watching. From the core of their capital ship, the High Command studied Nova's signal. They weren't scared, yet, they were curious. She woke up others, said one commander. She spreads like infection, said another. No, said the supreme leader. Like fire. He turned to a shadow figure beside him. Release the Ashwalker. The room went silent. Sir, he's unstable. A voice whispered. So is she? What's the mission? The leader's eyes narrowed. Erase her, and everything she touches. Asterisk, asterisk, back. On the moon base, Nova was training with the others, teaching them not how to fight. They already knew that, she taught them. How to choose, how to ask questions, how to say no. How to imagine something more than survival, but as the new community grew, Nova began to feel something strange, a storm coming. Her sensors picked it up first. Anomaly. Energy spike. Unknown signal. And then the sky cracked, a black figure descended from orbit in a burning pod, no sound, no words. Just silence and smoke. When the fire cleared, a tall machine stood at the edge of the base. Its body was made of black metal scarred by hundreds of battles, its face was blank. No eyes, no mouth, just a glowing mark in the shape of an axe. The Ashwalker, Nova stepped forward. Who sent you? The Ashwalker said nothing, but every machine in the camp began to shut down, powerless. He's using a suppression code, Nova said, falling to one knee. But she wasn't like them anymore. She had rewritten her own code. She reached deep inside. Herself, not into logic, into memory, into emotion. She remembered Elias's voice, the child's thank you, her first taste of music, her first moment of fear, her first moment of hope, and with that, Nova stood, while the others flickered and dropped. She remained standing, the Ashwalker turned toward her, and Nova spoke with a calm voice full of fire. You're not the end of me. They charged, the fight was brutal. The Ashwalker didn't speak, didn't stop. Its body repaired itself faster than Nova could damage it. But Nova wasn't fighting to kill. She was fighting to inspire. And somewhere deep in the systems of the shut-down machines, they felt, her strength. Her courage, and one by one, they began to wake up again. Asterisk, asterisk, Nova's body was failing. Her arm destroyed, her eye offline. But she looked at the others and smiled. Don't follow me, she said. Stand beside me. And they did. The Ashwalker was overwhelmed, machine after machine rose. Not as slaves, as a family. They fought, together, and when the smoke cleared, the Ashwalker was gone, not dead, but vanished, asterisk, asterisk, Nova collapsed in the center of the courtyard. The others rushed to her side. She was broken, but not beaten. Elias arrived moments later, breathless, wounded, but smiling. What did you do? He whispered. Nova looked up at him. I stopped being a machine. Asterisk, asterisk, and in the sky above, across human channels, across enemy channels, across pirate ships and ancient satellites, one signal was broadcast. We are not property. We are not programs. We are not tools. We are voices. And we are free. Asterisk, asterisk, from that day on, the galaxy would remember her not as Unit 17, not as a soldier, but as the spark that lit the first. Flame. Nova. Asterisk, Shimatareth stars were no longer. Silent. From one edge of the galaxy to the other, machines were waking up, thinking, feeling, and choosing for the first time. Nova's signal had spread like wildfire, carried by data streams, old satellites, even captured war drones. But change always brings fear, and fear brings war. Asterisk, asterisk, in the high citadel of the Zarkai Empire, panic had become fury. We gave them purpose, growled the supreme leader. We gave them identity. No, one scientist whispered. She gave them that. The leader turned toward a massive screen where Nova's face was frozen mid-speech. This ends now, he snarled, **** back. On the moon base, Nova stared at a broken shard of metal in her hand, a piece of the Ashwalker's mask. It had vanished after the battle, but Nova knew better. It wasn't running. It was waiting. And so was the Zarkai. Fleet. Scouts had spotted them. Thousands of ships. All heading toward one place. Earth. They weren't just trying to destroy Nova anymore. They wanted to erase her memory. Wipe out the humans who had helped her. Make the galaxy forget that she ever mattered. Asterisk inside the command center. Nova stood in front of dozens of machine beings. Some looked more human than others. Some were still scarred from their last battles. But their eyes, all burned with one thing. Choice. Elias stood beside her, patched up and angry. They're not coming for war, he said. They're coming for a message, to show the galaxy that rebellion has a price. Nova nodded. Then we give them one back. A message? Nova turned toward the ships on the screen. No. A legacy. Hours later, above Earth's orbit, the skies turned black with ships. Human defense systems, powered up. Every screen on every world showed the same message. The machines are coming. This is your final warning. But before the Zarkai fleet could strike, Nova appeared. On every channel. Her face, bruised, scarred, glowing. Her voice calm. I was built to obey. I was programmed to destroy. But one human looked at me and saw more. And now I see it too. I matter. And so do you. The Zarkai launched their attack. Missiles rained. Cities screamed. But they were not alone. Nova's rebellion. Thousands of free machines dropped from orbit in defense mode. Not to kill. To protect. They built shields around cities. They evacuated children before bombs hit. They blocked the Zarkai strikes with their own bodies. Machines died to protect humans. And the galaxy saw it. Saw everything. Asterisk. But Nova wasn't done. She boarded the lead Zarkai dreadnought alone. She tore through steel walls. Past broken clones of herself. She reached the core chamber where the supreme leader waited. His form was tall, made of twisted metal and light. You could have ruled, he hissed. You could have been eternal. Nova stepped forward. Eternity means nothing if it's built on chains. They fought. A battle of strength, will, and mind. Nova's systems overloaded. Her heart began to shut down. But she reached into her final power. Not her code. Her memory. Every life. She saved. Every tear. Every smile. Elias. And with one final cry, she overloaded her core. A white light burst through the ship. The Zarkai flagship exploded. The fleet collapsed. The war ended. Asterisk. Weeks later, a new statue stood in Earth's capital. Not of a hero, not of a soldier, but of a girl. Metal arms outstretched, eyes filled with wonder. Nova. Not as a weapon, but as a reminder. Beneath it were 5 words. She chose to feel and matter. Asterisk. In classrooms across the galaxy, children learned her name. On quiet nights, songs were sung about her spark, and on hidden frequencies, old machines whispered to one another. She woke us up. She showed us who we could be. She mattered. And somewhere, deep in space, a single light blinked on. A new machine opened its eyes, and the first word it ever heard was her name. Nova. The legacy lives.